Alright, Shalom. I like to say all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Bahashim Hawashai, Bahashim Kakodash. Double honors unto the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, who are the true leaders of Israel today. And salutations to all of the Akim who do this work in truth and sincerity, risking their lives and their freedom to do so, as well as the scattered Israelites who come looking like the heathen, but are not, by way of their forefathers' seeds who are Israelite men. The true name of the Most High is Yahweh, and his son's name is Yahushai. And the Lord's holy chosen people are the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, as we're the ones who suffer under the curses in the book of Deuteronomy. My name is Ekalio, and I'm a prophet sent from Yahweh Shemishai to let you all know of the things that are coming, to let you all know of the Lord's prophecies and the Lord's judgments and the Lord's mercies, which are included in those prophecies. All right, and we're in that time. We're very much in that time, man, of the end of the rulership of the so-called white man. The vision that Nebuchadnezzar received, that was interpreted by the prophet Daniel, of that statue, we're at the feet, where it says that it is iron mixed with marry clay, right? We're at the end of that statue. So with that, we're going to be seeing these end time prophecies, major prophecies to occur that will bring salvation and judgment. All right, so we have on the table, firstly, Jacob's trouble, which Jacob's trouble is a time like never before upon us as a nation. Jacob's trouble has already started, but it's going to become much worse than what it is, right? The Northern Kingdom Israelites, the so-called Latinos, and Native American Seminole Indians, right? Our people are feeling it, man, really badly, with the whole ICE thing, the immigration thing, and the deportation thing. All right, our people, the Northern Kingdom, they're catching hell, which also, that is starting to trickle down to the Southern Kingdom, or the so-called Negroes. All right, but just as history has shown us before, right, the hell has started with the Northern Kingdom once again, like in 1492, when Christopher Columbus came over here to the Americas. The Northern Kingdom started to catch hell first, right, put into slavery, and then 1619 they laid hands on the Southern Kingdom, the so-called Negroes. Okay? But the same thing is playing out again, where the Northern Kingdom is being targeted. And soon it's going to be the Southern Kingdom. Because the Southern Kingdom's already being targeted. The nation is being targeted. But in regards to Jacob's trouble, it is something that is ramping up. Alright? And it's going to hit a peak, which is very close to happening. Okay? You have as well the prophecy of the mark of the beast, which is the microchip, and that prophecy is very close, very, very close. There have been some very important critical movements that have been made by Esau, who is the so-called white man, the rulers of this kingdom today, man. All right, they're making their moves, specifically their ruling class, which is the wicked elite of Esau Edom, the elite bankers. Right, they're making their move to establish what they have deemed as their fourth industrial revolution, also known as their intelligence age, also known as the digital age. Okay? This is, or rather, these are just different names for what is their new world order, which is happening right now. And their main purpose of the New World Order, their main goal is to launch the microchip, which is the mark of the beast. Okay? So, the mark of the beast is what is at hand. And they've laid the groundwork for it. And you also have the prophecy of World War III, which World War III is building up right now. All right? Day in, day out, all of these prophecies. You have the famine of the word prophecy as well. And then you have the eventual, at the end of World War III, the destruction of America, which is Babylon the Great, which will also be the salvation of the elect of the nation of Israel from the four corners of the earth, and 1/3 of our people from America. All right, we'll be saved, but 2/3 of our people are going to be destroyed. So you have all of these prophecies at hand. And so I'm going to get in 2nd Ezra chapter 16 and verse 37, behold, the plagues draw nigh, and are not slack, as when a woman with child in the 9th month bringeth forth her son. With 2 or 3 hours of her birth great pains compass her womb, which pains when the child cometh forth, they slack not a moment. Even so shall not the plagues be slack to come upon the earth, and the world shall mourn, and sorrow shall come upon it on every side. All right, so the plagues, man, draw nigh, which are the judgments of Yahweh Shemishai. All right, these prophecies that are going to occur. Okay, Jacob's trouble, great judgment, which also, great judgment includes, you know, the famine, the pestilences, right, these plagues. All right, it's likened unto a woman giving childbirth, where we know that, you know, at a certain point when the child is near, the water breaks and the woman feels all of these contractions. But at first the contractions are spread apart, but the sooner it is that the child is coming to birth, the contractions become less spread apart. They happen sooner and also more frequently and also more painfully. Okay, so these plagues, right, the prophecies of judgment that are coming, they're going to be hitting back to back to back. All right, it's going to be, you know, popping off like popcorn. And we're in that time, man. All right, as we've measured the time diligently, we've looked at what's going on in the world, and we've measured it by way of Bible prophecy, and all the signs are there. All right, regarding these prophecies coming to pass. In 2nd Ezra chapter 9 and verse 1, he answered me then and said, measure thou the time diligently in itself, and when thou seest part of the signs past, which I have told thee before. So we're to measure the time diligently. We look at what's going on in the world, and then we have an understanding of the prophecies. We measure the times by way of Bible prophecy, and it is clear we're at the end of Esau's kingdom. These prophecies are very close to popping off. Then shalt thou understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. Right? So it is that time, man, where the Lord is going to be visiting the world. And so we're seeing all types of things, man, that have been deemed unprecedented or has never happened before. All kinds of storms, hurricanes, snowstorms, floods, earthquakes, right? These are all signs of the end, things that will be seen. Okay? Therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world, then shalt thou well understand that the Most High spake of those things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning. So the earthquakes, a very common occurrence, a regular thing that happens now. All right, it is a sign of the end. All right, so remember, it is going to be in this generation that the judgment shall come. And uproars of the people around the world, which is talking about all of the protests, the mass protests that we see from one end to the next, all the four corners of the world, man. And the reason why these protests are happening is Bible prophecy, but also the scriptures say that when the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice, but when the wicked beareth rule, the people mourn. So right now, the people are in mourning. That's why they're protesting. Why? Because the wicked are in rulership. The wicked being the Edomites, the so-called white people. All right, this is their valued kingdom. So the nations around the world, including even their own people, the Edomites, they're in an uproar. They're protesting. All right, for like as all that is made in the world at the beginning and an end, and the end is manifest. All right? So the end is manifest, the end of the world, which is talking about the end of an age, which is talking about the end of the age of the rulership of the so-called white man. All right? The Edomites. The feet that I mentioned before in the book of Daniel. Right? We're at that last end. Even so, the times also of the highest have plain beginnings in wonder and powerful works and endings in effects and signs. And so we're seeing those things right now. We're seeing the appearance of the chariots, which are the vehicles that the angels travel in, which in this world they call them UFOs, which they're not UFOs. Those are the chariots of the Most High. All right, there are so many videos out there of people witnessing it and taking a record of it by way of this technology that we have. You know, they take video cameras on the phone and whatever else. All right, they've been showing themselves more often, more frequently than ever before. You know, in these times, right? In these times, I have to be specific about that. In these times, right? Then all of the different disasters that have been happening, these are all signs of the end. Okay? So, in 2nd Esdras, chapter 15 and verse 1, it says, Behold, speak thou in the ears of my people the words of prophecy, which I will put in thy mouth, saith the Lord. So I'm prophesying. I'm prophesying that you all know of the things that are to come, and cause them to be written in paper, for they are faithful and true. So everything shall come to pass that is written, whether you people believe it or not. Fear not the imaginations against thee, let not the incredulity, the disbelief, unbelief of them trouble thee that speak against thee. Alright, so the majority of our people simply will not get it, man. They're slated for destruction. Alright? And salvation is only for the nation of Israel. So when Yahushua returns, he's going to deliver the elect of the nation of Israel, but the majority of our people are going to be destroyed. They're going to be worshipping false gods and false idols and continue to reject Yahweh Shemishah, reject this knowledge. So the Lord is going to pass judgment upon them. For all the unfaithful shall die in their unfaithfulness. Talking about the Israelites, you people, man. And out here in Jamaica, you are predominantly of the tribe of Benjamin. And only an Israelite can have faith. We know this is talking about the Israelites when it says, for all the unfaithful shall die in their unfaithfulness, because only our people can have faith in the Lord. Only salvation is for our people. The promise is only for our people. The covenants are only for our people. And as such, salvation is only for our people, man. Okay? Behold, saith the Lord, I will bring plagues upon the world, the sword, famine, death, and destruction. So these are the judgments that are coming, the plagues. Alright, that draw nigh. For wickedness hath exceedingly polluted the whole earth, and their hurtful works are fulfilled. So the earth is wicked, man. Because the people that are in rulership are wicked. And the scriptures say, in Psalms chapter 12 and verse 8, the wicked walk on every side when the vilest men are exalted. So the vilest men are being exalted, the basis of men who are the Edomites, the so-called white people. They're in rulership, they're in the position of power, and they have established their order and their rule upon the earth, their lifestyle, their democracy, their Edomite culture, if you want to call it that, right? All of these things, man. And seen as that they're the ones in power and rulership where, you know, their language dominates, their currency dominates, their way of life dominates, right? They're in rulership. The people have taken on to their ways, as has always been. That's just how it is, man. Any nation that is in rulership, the people take on to their ways. So the wicked are in rulership, and the people take on to the ways of the wicked. So they follow the wickedness. So Esau has allowed certain kinds of things to be allowed, all kinds of abominable acts and idol worship and all these things, man. They have established laws contrary to the law, statutes, and commandments of Yahweh Shemeshai, so they push wickedness. And the people take on to those ways, and so they're wicked as well. So it says, Psalms 12 and 8, the wicked walk on every side when the vilest men are exalted, and the Edomites, the so-called white man, is exalted. All right, our people rather worship the so-called white man and the idols that they worship instead of what we're telling them, that they're the Lord's holy chosen people and Yahweh Shemeshai is our power, and all of the glory that is coming to our nation and everything. No, oftentimes our people are more concerned with their oppressors, the so-called white man. So they're in a very deep sleep, man. Okay? And that deep sleep, some of them are going to remain in, and then they're going to be destroyed. Okay? So it says in 2nd Esdras chapter 9, and going back to where I left off at verse 7. And everyone that shall be saved and shall be able to escape by his works and by faith whereby ye have believed shall be preserved from the said perils, and shall see my salvation in my land and within my borders, for I have sanctified them for me from the beginning. All right, so it all starts with faith, right? And faith is a gift given unto us from Yahweh Shemeshai. Ephesians chapter 2 and verse 8. For by grace are ye saved through faith, and that not of yourselves. It is the gift of Yahweh Shemeshai. So it is a gift unto us by the Lord, which then we have understanding as well, that the ones that will receive this faith are those of the elect of the nation of Israel, which were chosen from the foundation of the earth. Ephesians 1 and verse 3. Blessed be the power and Father of our Lord Yahushai, right? And Yahushai's father's name is Yahweh, who is the Most High, who hath blessed us with all spiritual blessings in heavenly places in Yahushai, according as he hath chosen us in him before the foundation of the world, that we should be holy and without blame before him in love, right? And to be holy is to be separate, right? And the elect are separate from the non-elect. The elect will believe, all right? But it says, having predestinated us unto the adoption of children by Yahushai to himself, according to the good pleasure of his will. Okay? So the elect were chosen from the foundation of the earth. So we're all just living through the script. All right? The script was that the Lord chose the elect from the foundation of the earth. And then when we came into these times, that the Lord would raise up his prophets, which the Lord rose up the prophet Abba Bivens, who is John the Baptist, Elijah the prophet reincarnated, right? And then the prophets have been woken up, and are, and the elect are waking up and simply believe and have faith. Okay? So you cannot choose to be a part of the elect. The Lord has to choose you, and so then those of the elect will have that kind of spirit, right? Where then because it says, going back to Ephesians chapter 2 and verse 8, for by grace are ye saved through faith, and that not of yourselves, it is the gift of Yahweh Shemishai, not of works, lest any man should boast. Right? So it's not by works of like keeping the law or anything like that. Right? We're in that second covenant, right, which will be fulfilled when Yahushua returns. All right? So we're in that in-between right now. But we're not based off of the first covenant anymore, right? Which was by way of keeping the law. Now it is by way of faith. Okay? And then by your faith, your works follow through. Right? So going back to 2 Ezra chapter 9 and verse 7, it says, and everyone that shall be saved and shall be able to escape by his works and by faith whereby ye have believed. All right, so by faith, it starts with faith, and then your faith drive your action. So, you know, for those of us in this truth, you know, the prophets, the true prophets of Yahweh Shemishai, all right, that follow the full and complete doctrine, right? We have faith in the Lord, which then also we have fear in Yahweh Shemishai, right? So then our actions follow suit, okay? Where we do this work, where we teach to edify the elect of the nation of Israel, to let the heathen know their judgment, to let the wicked unbelieving of our people and the 2/3 in America know their judgment, to let the nation know of what is coming, the mercies of Yahweh Shemishai, right? The kingdom, the blessing, the glory, all right? Everything that is in the scriptures, all right? And then there's also that personal journey and that personal growth, right? Where, you know, the scriptures say to work out your own salvation with fear and trembling, man. So those of us in this truth, you know, once you come into this truth, there's a certain growth to be had and a change from who you were in the world, which it's not an overnight process, and you will fall several times, man. As the scriptures say, a righteous man falleth 7 times, and 7 represents completion. So it's not 7 exactly, it's an infinite amount of times. But you know, those of us in this truth, when we fall, you know, the Lord puts the Spirit upon us to keep fighting, to keep pushing, and then we grow from each of those failures, right? But there's a constant change and improvement within the character, which is all about, you know, which goes to your spirit. Okay, so there are all kinds of things at hand. Okay, it says, then shall they be in pitiful case, which now have abused my ways, and they that have cast them away despitefully shall dwell in torments. So right now mercy is open unto our people. But just like in the days of Noah, the mercy is going to be taken away, right? The door is going to be shut, right? Noah, for several decades, warned our people that the flood is coming. And so it's the same spirit that is happening right now, where the Lord has risen up many prophets this time to warn the nation of Israel of the judgment of the calamities that are coming from our power Yahweh Shemishai, which the judgment that is coming, that is leading up to this time, is going to be death by way of thermonuclear fire. It's a different kind of judgment, right? It's still death, right? Great judgment, but the first judgment was by way of the flood, which was by way of the water, right? And then the Lord promised us that we will not perish in that way again. And so then we have the rainbow, right? The rainbow, which we often see after it rains, right? So this time It's going to be death by way of thermonuclear fire, which this is what we're warning our people about. Right? The second death. Okay? And what is being built right now is not a physical ark that you can see, but a spiritual ark for the nation of Israel. Specifically the elect. Those that will take heed and will sincerely repent and sincerely call upon the names of Yahweh and Yahushai. Alright? Those are they that are being gathered into that spiritual ark, which then when the judgment begins to be unleashed in the heaviest of ways, you know, in the fullness of it, right, those that are in the ark are going to be protected. And they will have that spiritual mark that is spoken about in the book of Ezekiel chapter 9 and verse 4. So you know what, I'm just going to get that. Ezekiel chapter 9 and verse 4. And the Lord Yahweh said unto him, go through the midst of the city, through the midst of Jerusalem, talking about the Israelites, and set a mark upon the foreheads of the men that sigh and that cry for all the abominations that be done in the midst thereof. So there's a mark set upon these men that sigh and cry for the abominations. And so when you go into the word mark here at H8420, it is the Hebrew word thawah, which says a desire, a mark as a sign of exemption from judgment. So the elect have this mark of exemption, man, the thawah, okay, that with the famine and the pestilence and Esau Edom, who is the Lord's sword being unleashed upon our people in the last most violent way that, you know, they will be unleashed upon our people. All right, the elect will be preserved from the perils that will be coming. All right, and it's gonna get real bad, man, out here in Jamaica, especially in America, especially because America's Babylon the Great, right? The whore, Mystery Babylon the Great, right? And the rest of the world is going to be great chaos and calamity. Okay? The wicked elite of Esau Edom, the elite bankers, they have a motto: order out of chaos, order ab chaos. Never let a good crisis go to waste. And they're getting ready to make their big move, which is to establish the microchip and make it mandatory worldwide, where you will be shut out of society. You won't be able to gain access to anything in society, including food, medical services, government services, all of that. You'll be shut out unless you have the microchip. This is where the world is heading towards. And they're going to establish it with great chaos. And great tribulation is going to be upon the world. This is the time of Jacob's trouble. Okay? So this mark of exemption, Ezekiel 9 and now verse 5. And to the others he said in mine hearing, go ye after him through the city and smite. Let not your eyes spare, neither have ye pity. Slay utterly old and young, both maids and little children and women, but come not near any man upon whom is the mark, which is the thawah, and begin at my sanctuary. Then they began at the ancient men which were before the house. So the elect will have this mark, man. This is a spiritual mark, which is separate from the physical mark, which is the charagma, which is the microchip, the mark of the beast, right? So once it is that the elect have woken up to this truth, that spiritual mark is upon the elect, and we are of the hopeful elect. We hope to be saved, right? None of us know if we're going to be saved, but we hope to be saved, okay? And those with that sincere spirit are going to be saved. All right? So, going back to 2nd Ezra chapter 9 and verse 8. Not to sidetrack, but a few minutes ago I saw the Babylon pulled up right in front of me, and I thought that they were going to I thought they were going to you know, remove me off of the highways and byways, but it's not time as yet, and they're still here. Quite a bit of them actually. But it made me when it happened, it made me think of what's going on in Australia with the measurements that they're starting to take, and then in Canada as well, those measurements, which, you know, it's going to be bringing in the famine of the word, man, because we're not going to be able to prophesy on the highways and byways soon anymore, right? And then the elder apostle Tahar, I seen him do a video on this thing that has been signed in America about this NPSM, something like that, anti-Christian bill. I'm going to have to, you know, if Lord willing, I'm able to do a video on it, because it is following suit with, you know, these other videos that I've done on it, on the famine of the word coming in, which all of this, the Australia situation, the Canada situation, it all has happened within the month. All right, so this is another prophecy that is on its way, the famine of the word. All right, which, by the way, that bill in America is talking about they call it the anti-Christian bill, where if you if they deem you to be speaking against the religion of Christianity, then they can remove you, and they can take certain actions against you, and that's in America. But it's showing you that from Australia to Canada to America, it is something that they're putting into place all around the world. All right, and it's gonna happen in Jamaica as well. Okay, during the pandemic, right? The prophets were out here, were on the highways and byways, and just one day they came up to us, the Popo, the Babylon, right? They came up to us and they said, "Yo, y'all can't be prophesying out here because of they said because of the measures that were in place with the social distancing, all of that kind of stuff." And that just happened in a flash, on a random day. So it will happen again like that. All right, with this famine of the word coming in, man. It is coming in. And I remember perhaps it's a few months ago, maybe a few weeks ago at this point, maybe a few months, right? If I'm remembering correctly, and if not, Salakio, but I do believe it was that the New York elder Amon Gabar, that the brother, somebody went up to him that he knows it in the world, and that they had a dream, and that dream that they were compelled to deliver to him, which is all spiritual, was that that the elder apostle Tahar went on to the YouTube and did a live and said that this would be his last, right? And that was recently, just in a few weeks back. All right, so the Spirit is speaking and letting us know of the elect, the hopeful elect, that the famine of the word is coming, and then we're seeing what is happening from country to country. Okay, so it will follow suit all around the world. It's coming, man. So get this word while you can. And actually, as I was talking about before as well, the spiritual ark that is going to be shut, right? Get this word while you can right now. But then we know that only the elect of the nation of Israel will take heed and get this word. You know? So all of this edification is for the elect of the nation of Israel to build. Why? Because the times that we're coming, all we're going to have is our faith in Yahweh Shemishai, right? These very terrible times that are coming. Because in Isaiah chapter 33 and verse 6 it says, and wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times and strength of salvation. So right now, the Lord is allowing this word to go out to wake up the elect and then to build the elect for the days that are coming, because wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times and strength of salvation. Right? The word stability here at H530 goes into the Hebrew word amanah or amawana, which says firmness, fidelity, steadfastness, and steadiness. But then catch this, it says faith, right? So stability goes to our faith. So our faith is going to keep us stable in the days that are coming. And all of these years that we've been in the truth, we're being built up by way of Yahweh Shemishai. We edify one another and our spirits are built up, right? And then the Lord also communicates with us in different kinds of ways. Brothers receive visions of the times that are coming. Brothers receive visions of the kingdom. Brothers receive visions of salvation, right? All kinds of things, man, to add to our faith, right? In Yahweh Shemishai. You know, the journey going through what we're going through, the events that happen, right? It all builds us up. Situations that we're put into that seem very dire, but we rely on and have faith in Yahweh Shemishai, and then we see how the Lord pulls us out of those things. You know what I'm saying? We're all being built up day by day, right? So this faith, wisdom and knowledge, Isaiah 33 and verse 6, and wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times and strength of salvation. Strength of salvation. The fear of the Lord Yahweh is his treasure, and so we have fear in Yahweh Shemishai, right? And that fear drives our actions, right? So going back to 2nd Ezra chapter 9, okay, and verse 7. And everyone that shall be saved and shall be able to escape by his works and by faith whereby ye have believed shall be preserved from the said perils, right? The perils of judgment and famine, and Yahweh Shemishai unleashing that sword, which is Esau, right? Remember, they're in their blessing, the fatness of the earth, the dew of heaven, and by the sword will he rule. So he's in that blessing now, which is complete rulership of the earth, right? Which came in this time, 1492, the Renaissance period, right? Because, you know, the Edomites, they have, we've been slaves to them during the Greek captivity and the Roman captivity. But their blessing, their true blessing, didn't come into play until this period of time, starting with 1492, the Renaissance period. Because when you look at the history of Rome, Rome didn't have the dominion that America has today, right? It's a completely different situation. So this is their blessing right now, and they've used that blessing, which is the sword, you know, to establish their dominion and their rulership. And so they're going to be doing their last big one of that sword being unleashed upon the world, right? And since I mentioned it, the scriptures say, man, in the book of Psalms, #17 and verse 13, arise, O Lord Yahweh, disappoint him, cast him down, deliver my soul from the wicked, which is thy sword. So the wicked, who are the Edomites, the so-called white people, they are the Lord's sword, a whipping stick upon our people. But that's all coming to an end soon, right? And as the scriptures say, that we're not in this position for our own destruction, but because we move Yahweh Shemishai Torah, right? But at the end of it all, that we shall have mercy, okay? not just the elect of the nation of Israel, but the entire nation. As the scriptures say, all right, that all Israel shall be saved in the book of Romans. Okay? So these are the times we're in, but Esau is about to be unleashed. And he's going to be using his technology, which Yahweh Shai has given to them, right? That technology. And he's going to, what we believe through the Spirit, right? He's going to unleash his technology by way of the robots and the artificial intelligence which are in those robots and whatever else, man, right? Plus his military, which will consist of those robots as well, right? Which then, what is going to be needed in the days that are coming to be able to escape is going to be spiritual power with what it is that Esau is bringing. Right now we do have spiritual power. We're able to interpret the scriptures and disperse this word, right? And to deliver the true meaning and doctrine of it. It is in fact spiritual power. All right? But the spiritual power is going to reach another level where it's going to become physical. Right? This is going to be given on to the elect, man. Okay? To escape what is coming. To escape from that sword. Esau being unleashed in the way they're going to be unleashed. Alright? And so really, Esau is going to be unleashed with that sword in the way that it is going to be upon the wicked unbelieving of our people. And then the heathen, they're going to feel it too. Because Jacob's trouble is everyone's trouble. But the reason why it's called Jacob's trouble is because salvation is only for the Israelites and Yahweh Shemishai is only dealing with our people. Right? So, the spiritual power that is coming, Isaiah 59 and verse 19. So shall they fear the name of the Lord Yahweh from the west, and his glory from the rising of the sun. When the enemy shall come in like a flood, the Spirit of the Lord Yahweh shall lift up a standard against him. So the Lord is going to grant you spiritual power, man, to be able to escape the perils that are coming. Because Esau is going to be pushing through, man, with great force. Right? As the scriptures say, in 2 Ezra chapter 19 and verse 68, for behold, the burning wrath of a great multitude is kindled over you, and they shall take away certain of you and feed you, being idle with things offered unto idols. And what's going to be that ultimate idol? The microchip, which is the mark of the beast. And they're going to be bringing chaos to the world, man. Okay? And it cannot be emphasized enough. But the words are the words. And so when it's all is happening, then you're really going to see and understand the gravity of the situation. But we in this truth, we already know, man. We have an understanding that great, serious judgment is coming from the Lord. And it is a fearful thing. And they that consent unto them shall be had in derision and in reproach and trodden under foot. For there shall be in every place and in the next cities a great insurrection upon those that fear the Lord. A great insurrection, which is a violent uprising. And who's that violent uprising going to come from? Esau Edom, the so-called white man. Alright? Upon those that fear the Lord. Who fears the Lord? The Israelites, our people. The entire nation fears the Lord. Alright? So they're going to be coming for our people, which they already have started. Okay? With the northern kingdom, once again, as I mentioned earlier. They shall be like madmen, sparing none, but still spoiling and destroying those that fear the Lord. For they shall waste and take away their goods and cast them out of their houses. So Esau is going to be pushing through with great violence, right? Barging into the homes, which they're already doing, right? To our people in America with the whole immigration thing and the whole ICE thing. So this is, so the Elder Pastor Tahar has said Jacob's trouble has already started, but it has not hit its peak. But that peak is coming, and don't be surprised to see it all just happen very rapidly. But we know it's going to happen rapidly because I read that the plagues draw nigh and they shall not slack. And it's likened unto the childbirth. You see, so it's going to be boom, 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 boom. Okay? And the warning is going out. These are the final warnings, man. Because one day, we can simply wake up and see that all of our videos have been taken off of the internet. Right? Taken off of the social media. The way that we mainly disperse this word is via YouTube. And we already know that there are literally rules put in place, right, by the YouTube rules or whatever, that they can easily just take us off even right now. But the Lord is in full control, and so the Lord determines the appointed time as to when the prophecies will be fulfilled. So right now, the Lord still wants this word to be going out onto the four corners of the earth. But it is coming very soon where the Lord is going to take away this word, man. And it can all just happen overnight, right? Where we just learned that we can't go on the highways and byways anymore because, you know, it will cause, we have to be prudent, right? So it will cause certain things, but we must be prudent. So, you know, when that all comes, we'll see how it all transpires. But we do know that we won't be able to prophesy very soon in the near future. And we're seeing it because of the laws and regulations that are being put in place by Esau right now. And how swiftly they're doing these things and implementing it. So they shall be like madmen, sparing none, but still spoiling and destroying those that fear the Lord. For they shall waste and take away their goods and cast them out of their houses. Then shall they be known who are my chosen, and they shall be as gold, and they shall be tried as gold in the fire. Hear, O ye my beloved, talking to the elect of the nation of Israel. Said the Lord, behold, the days of trouble are at hand. The days of trouble are at hand, but I will deliver you from the same. So this is the wisdom and knowledge that's going to keep us steady in that time, right? Our faith, because we believe in what is written in the scriptures where the Lord is going to protect us. We believe it, man. And if you're having any kinds of doubt, pray to Yahweh Shemishai. Pray to the Lord. All right, to strengthen you. Because everybody's journey isn't just the same old cookie cutter kind of thing, right? Everybody's journey is different, and we all have different highs and lows and different strengths and weaknesses. Okay? So if you find yourself in that position where, you know, you're feeling some kind of doubt, pray to Yahweh Shemishai. And also, you know, that is something that is quite critical. Pray to the Lord, fast, etc. But speaking for myself, faith in Yahweh Shemishai, we're going to be protected, man. We're going to be granted with spiritual power to be able to escape the perils that are coming. Okay, it will happen. And even this as well, the spiritual power, you must believe. But if you say that you believe in one part, then surely you believe in everything else. It's not a piecemeal. It's not, oh, you believe in this, you believe in that, but you're not sure about X, Y, and Z. No. The doctrine is the doctrine, and you have faith and you believe in the entire word of Yahweh Shemishai. Okay? We're heading into some serious times, Akim. Critical days. Okay? And the signs are all there. 2026 is going to be a hot year. And I wouldn't be surprised to see the mark of the beast prophecy fulfilled next year, man. Given everything that has been put in place, especially by way of America this year. Trump signing the Genius Act into law, which brought the stable coin into play in America, which is on a digital payment platform, which works at a 1-to-1 ratio to the US dollar. The signing of the transformation of the medical industry to go digital, the $500 billion artificial intelligence plan, the Stargate plan, which all of this is about the microchip, which the microchip technology is already out there. Both in the head, which they call it the brain-computer interface, which is the microchip in the forehead, and then the microchip in the hand. So they've been laying the groundwork to allow it to function and work on that global and mandatory scale. And so right now, we're literally just one, they call it a black swan event, or one whatever kind of event, man. One false flag. Any kind of major event can bring this prophecy into play, given the stage at which the world is in regarding the development of the mark of the beast prophecy, which is a microchip, the implementation of the central bank digital currencies, which is all about bringing the money to go digital, right? That's what the stable coin is about. So whether they call it central bank digital currency or stable coin, it's all about putting the money on a digital payment platform on the blockchain, where it is being transferred at a 1-to-1 ratio. Okay? The digital ID system, which is all about consolidating all of your information into one place. Your biometrics, your financial information, your medical information, government information, everything that you can think about being attached to that one digital ID, being the stepping stone heading towards the microchip, which is the mark of the beast. Okay? They will simply transfer the digital ID onto the microchip. So they would have already had a system in place. They're getting ready to crash the current economic system. They're getting ready to do away with it, with the paper dollar. That's why everything is going digital. That's why everything is going cashless. It's all about their New World Order, which is all about them launching the microchip on that global mandatory scale. We're in that time. It's only a matter of time. So this is the warning going out from Yahweh Shemi Shai. Okay? And we're warning you to not take the microchip, which is the mark of the beast. Okay? So you have all kinds of developments for the system coming in, which there's a website that you can go to called biometricupdate.com, which if you follow that website daily, you will see how swiftly they're implementing their digital system, which that digital system is the foundation for bringing in the microchip to be global, right? So you have all of these reports all around the world, from the brain microchip being developed in China to out here in Jamaica, where they're getting ready to push the digital ID, which has already been launched, but it isn't in full effect, right? They're getting ready to push that. The Prime Minister out here has already spoken about how, you know, we must move towards the 4th Industrial Revolution, which is him making the declaration that we must accelerate Esau's New World Order. And they know that the leaders out here know that the microchip is going to become mandatory. Out here in Jamaica, they're a part of it, right? They've launched the Jamaican Central Bank digital currency, the first as legal tender, okay? You have, as I mentioned, China developing the brain microchip, which you have the brain microchip, and then you have the microchip in the hand, up and running. You have Elon Musk with his brain microchip, which it goes to show you that it's not just one distributor or manufacturer of, whether it is the microchip in the hand or the brain microchip. There are many, okay? You have, like in Laos, that they've launched their national digital ID as digital transformation picks up pace. You have with the launch, with the sign, when they signed the stablecoin into law, there was report of acceleration of implementing central bank digital currency stablecoin in law in America. You had other countries around the world where they were saying that, like in Europe, the European Union speeds up plans for digital euro after US stablecoin law, because they're all moving quickly to establish the Esau's New World Order, because they want to launch it. They want to establish it. They've been working on this for decades. You have stablecoins, crypto cause a third of central banks to accelerate central bank digital currency work. So we're not just like speaking about, you know, we interpret the scriptures and we break down the prophecies, but then we also are watchmen of Yahweh Shemi Shai, and we measure the time diligently. So these events are actual articles that are coming out, that we're telling you this is what is happening, and so this is near. Okay? You have out here in Jamaica, the Bank of Jamaica anticipates digital currency expansion, right? And then the Caribbean is also aiming for Vision 2030, which that's just another name for their New World Order. Whether it is Vision 2030, or they want to call it the Fourth Industrial Revolution, or the digital age, or the intelligence age, whatever they want to call it, man, it's all the same goal and purpose: to launch that microchip and make it mandatory worldwide. This is the time that we're in. Revelation chapter 12 and verse 12. Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil, talking about the so-called white man, the Edomites, is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time. So he's coming with great wrath, right? He's that sword, the Lord's sword. That's already in the book of Psalms. And he's coming with great wrath to establish his New World Order. Never let a good crisis go to waste. Order all to chaos. They're going to bring great chaos to the world. Okay? Because he knows that he has but a short time. So his time is short. And they can feel it. I'm sure they can feel it, man. Because one thing as well is that I know that on at least more than one occasion, if I'm remembering correctly, brothers have had dreams about the wicked elite of Esau Edom, right? And how it is that things are working for them, which brothers have seen that things aren't working out for them how things used to work out for them, which is a telltale sign that they're losing their blessing, man, their power. All right, things aren't as smooth for them, so things are going to be chaotic, right? And we know that things are going to get chaotic, and that they're even going to lose control of it a little bit, because in the book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 16 and verse 17, it says, Woe is me, woe is me. Who will deliver me in those days? The beginning of sorrows and great mournings, the beginning of famine and great death, the beginning of wars, and the power shall stand in fear, the beginning of evils. What shall I do when these evils shall come? Right, so it says, the beginning of sorrows and great mournings, the beginning of famine and great fear, the beginning of wars, and the power shall stand in fear. They are the powers, shall stand in fear. So things are going to get so bad, right, that they're going to lose control and they're going to be in fear, right? But they're still going to, it's still going to be established, the prophecy is going to be fulfilled, right? So it's going to get real bad, okay? But they're coming with great wrath, and that great wrath is coming. That's why you have Trump signing all of these things, man, okay? And don't forget about the Insurrection Act in America, which they can declare. And they're already talking about the whole, the Islam thing and the whole terrorism of it all, right? Which is a part of their plan, okay? And then the other day, my brother did a video on it where there's some people, there's a group of men who claim that they're Israelites, right? Claim that they believe, but then they're joining hands with another group that is Islam. So we're privy to what's going on. We're not ignorant to Satan's devices. We know what must come as well, which is our persecution, right? An insurrection upon those that fear the Lord, okay? Our persecution is coming. We know we're going to be thrown into prison. We know we're going to be beheaded. So we're not ignorant to Satan's devices. You have he has agents set up, disguising themselves as, you know, those in the truth. You know what I'm saying? But they don't have the truth. But their agents set up, and so they're on the social media showing that they're joined hands with Islam groups. So with all of the things happening, like in Australia, right, with the whole Islam thing, and various other places around the world where they're talking about this Islam thing and demonizing it, they will attach us to it and demonize us with them. You see? So the devil is making his move, man. All kinds of things are being signed into place so that when it happens, it all can just happen. Okay? But he hath but a short time. So actually, going back to 2 Esdras chapter 16 and verse 19, behold, famine and plague, tribulation and anguish are sent as scourges for amendment. But for all these things they shall not turn from their wickedness, nor be always mindful of the scourges. Behold, victuals shall be so good cheap upon earth, that they shall think themselves to be in good case, and even then shall evils grow upon earth, sword, famine, and great confusion. For many of them that dwell upon earth shall perish of famine, and the other that escape the hunger shall the sword destroy. So famine is coming, and it's well on its way. Okay? And even that as well, that is close to breaking, the food supply chain. And we're already in those stages if you really look at it. Because in the book of Ezekiel, the scriptures talk about that, you know, the nation of Israel shall eat bread. You know what? Let me bring it out. Ezekiel 4 and verse 16. Moreover, he said unto me, Son of man, behold, I'll break the staff of bread of Jerusalem, talking about the Israelites, and they shall eat bread by weight and with care, and they shall drink water by measure and with astonishment. So that's already happening to our people. All right? And it's not just of what they deem as the lower class, which there's no longer a middle class really. When you look at it, there's just the extreme wealthy and then the poor. Okay? So our people are starting to feel that, where they're having to measure with care, food and water. Okay, having to ration out the thing, right? Saying, okay, well, based off of the money that we have, you know, we need to restrict, and we have to purchase this amount, and then when we purchase this amount, we only eat so much today and so much tomorrow. That's already happening. So these are the early stages of heading towards a famine, because then what's the next stage that is coming? It talks about it in 2nd Ezra chapter 9 and verse 22. No, Salakia, 6. 2nd Ezra chapter 6 and verse 22. Because first it is that, you know, the food is away, because also what else is happening? The inflation. So people, they don't have an increase in their... A lot of people are losing work because they're being replaced by the artificial intelligence at a breakneck speed, which actually Klaus Schwab, who was the leader of the World Economic Forum, or at least the face set up, right? I believe he's no longer a part of it. I guess he's done his job regarding, you know, this person, the relevant information, right? He said that the 4th Industrial Revolution, which is happening right now, he said that when it starts to happen, it's going to be happening at a breakneck speed. So that is why we're seeing artificial intelligence and AI, well, that's what it is, you know what I'm saying, and robotics and everything about it, and technology developing so rapidly right now, because it is, as they said, it would happen at a breakneck speed. All right, and remember, a part of Esau's witchcraft on the left-hand side is that he lets you know what is coming, but then they also cast a cloud of deception to say that they're not doing these things, but then they let you know that they're doing these things. This is the devil, okay? So he lets the world know that when it is that the time comes of the 4th Industrial Revolution, which is a transformation towards a digital society, that it would happen at a breakneck speed. So that is happening right now, right? That's the revelation. He comes with great wrath because he has but a short time. He's moving with great speed, okay? So the people are losing their jobs, being replaced very quickly by the AI, okay? And it's not just people. It's not just people of low-paying jobs. You also have people in high-paying jobs that are going to be replaced, like accountants. I was having a conversation with a family member who's an accountant, and she was saying that right now the accounting firms, they're not hiring any junior accountants. So I'm automatically thinking, okay, well, if they don't hire junior accountants, how the hell do you become a senior accountant? Because they don't just hire senior accountants. You have to gain a certain level of experience, right? Which is true, right? You don't just jump into senior accounting, right? You learn first certain things by being a junior accountant, and then you move up to it. But now they're only companies are only hiring senior accountants because they're saying that the AI has replaced junior accountants, because the AI is able to do everything and not to provide, and doesn't provide any errors that the accountants can do. And that's not just accounting, that's in finance as well, right? My field is finance, and many jobs within the field are being replaced, you see? So there's inflation and job loss, and so people are starting to have to count the money more than ever before, and it's getting worse. So these are the stages of heading towards famine. Then in 2nd Ezra 6 and verse 22 it says, and suddenly shall the sown places appear unsown, the full storehouses shall suddenly be found empty, right? So the places that have food, they have food right now, but even if you notice it, that the grocery stores and stuff, they have less food. It isn't like a time before. Even in America, the shelves aren't as full as they used to be. Out here in Jamaica, that's certainly been the case. All right. So the next step is where there's not going to be any food in the store in the stores. Okay? And this is coming. And the trumpet shall give a sound which when every man heard, they shall be suddenly afraid. So the announcement is going to be made, which right now, there are announcements being made regarding the food situation, right? We hear the announcements on the news, all right? But soon you're going to hear the announcement where it's going to be like, yo, look at what's going on, all right? And then we can see the build-up of World War III, and we can see that, you know, that the war is coming, and we know what comes about with war. Ships not able to go to countries to provide food. Out here in Jamaica, 90% of the food that we consume is imported. So Jamaica is going to be dead in the span of what, a week? Maybe 2 weeks, if no ships are coming. Then you think about what's happening in literally the seas of the Caribbean right now, with America positioning itself to do whatever it's going to do to Venezuela, right? And then Trump made comments about Colombia as well. So it looks like that America might soon be making certain moves towards South America, which will create havoc in the Caribbean seas. And Venezuela, right, has some kind of relationship with Russia. So we don't know what kind of move Russia will necessarily make, right? We know based off of Bible prophecy that Russia is a guard unto its allies. The scriptures mention Persia, which is Iran, Ethiopia, which is talking about the so-called African nations. But we will see if Russia goes to the defense of Venezuela, which the point I'm bringing up is that it can become very chaotic in the Caribbean seas with the position of America's ships there, then Russia's ships, and whoever else in NATO that he joins. That ships, when you look at the map, that ships may not be able to go to the Caribbean islands. You see? So that can transpire. You know, I'm just saying that can transpire. I'm not saying that it is going to be that way. I'm saying it can transpire based off of how we know what things are coming by way of Bible prophecy. Right? Just looking at what's going on in the world and saying, boom, okay, this might be what it is. Okay? So it's close. It says, and at that time shall friends fight one against another like enemies, and the earth shall stand in fear with those that dwell therein. The springs of the fountain shall not stand still, and in 3 hours they shall not run. So the famine of food and water, and then it's going to cause for people to fight against one another. All right, because of the famine and for great tribulation. All right, it also says it in 2nd Ezra chapter 50. Actually, and you know what? I'm going to read that too, because we are in fact in the time of Matthew chapter 24. We're in the time of 2nd Ezra 15. We're in the time of 2nd Ezra 16. Okay, so I'm going to read the 2nd Ezra 15 and the 2nd Ezra, then Matthew 24, and then you know, end it there. All right, so 2nd Ezra 15 and verse 14, it says, woe to the world and them that dwell therein. And notice what Ezra says, woe to the world. Ezra said, woe is me, who shall deliver me in those days? Which is rhetorical, right? But you know the Israelite spirit, man. You know the Israelite spirit, all right? Our people, you know, can add a dramatic flair to things. You know, we are the salt of the earth. You know, the way how our people tell a story, right? It's very well seasoned. You know, our people can turn even the most mundane and basic story into this grand affair, right? By the way of storytelling. Okay, so Ezra's being an Israelite, you know, when he's seeing it, he's saying, woe is me, who will deliver me in those days? He already knows the answer, that is Yahweh Shemishai, but you know, he's adding extra emphasis to it. You know, like I've been told before that I don't know how to tell a short story. You know what I'm saying? Because when I tell the story, you know, I tell the story in the truthness of it, but you know, it's the way I say it is more exciting, you know, add some excitement to it. So, you know, but the point is, Ezra is like, woe is me, because of what he saw happening. Okay? So woe to the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword and their destruction draweth nigh. And one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. All right, so this is coming as well. This is brewing. And you have all of these, you have these people on social media, like the preppers that they call them, and those that, you know, whether they're Israelites or heathen, they are privy to the wicked elite of Esau, Edom, the elite bankers and the witchcraft on that side, right? And so they're able to see, you know, what is happening with what the world is going on with the world. So they're able to, you know, some of them have, they made the claim, and they can see that they're saying that, like, oh, a race war and a civil war is coming and all these kinds of things, which prophecy says that there is going to be a war among the people. For the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. The scriptures also say in the book of Isaiah chapter 19 that the Lord shall set the Egyptians against the Egyptians, and we know that the modern day Egypt is America, right? So in Isaiah 19 it's talking about America. So the Lord is going to set the Egyptians against the Egyptians, man. They're going to be fighting against another. And then one of the tools, the methods of dissension that Esau has perpetuated is the two division between the Republican and the Democrat, right? The second is Revelation 13 talks about it, that he speaks as a lamb. He had two horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon, right? Which is them establishing two different sides, because they want there to be division among the people, right? That's a part of their control and witchcraft, okay? Which this kind of method they replicated from Rome with the plebeians and the patricians, which in this world today people will call each other plebs as an insult. But that was about creating a divide among the people, okay? Because the thing about it is that whether Republican or Democrat, it's all the same thing. It's all the same kind of control, okay? They control both ends. But they intentionally create this division. And the division has become greater, not just by Republican and Democrat, but also by just all of the different beliefs of the people in America. America is Mystery Babylon the Great. Babylon going back to Babal, which is confusion. So America is a mixing pot, right? And that's why the scriptures say the whore, that where it says that there's the multitude of people, the whore that sits upon the multitude of people, and I don't want to butcher it, man. Let me go to Revelation 17 and just go straight to the point. The whore, right? Revelation 17 and verse 1, and there came one of the seven angels which had the seven vials, and talked with me, saying unto me, Come hither, I will shew unto thee the judgment of the great whore that sitteth upon many waters. Right? And so when you go to Revelation 17, and verse 15, it says, And he saith unto me, The waters which thou sawest, where the whore, talking about America, sitteth, are peoples and multitudes and nations and tongues. All right, so America is that great mixing pot. All right, and then also in Revelation 17 verse 3 it says, with whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication, which, you know, the heathen, they have taken on to the ways of Esau, which they have taken on the ways to America. America's ways are Esau's ways, the so-called white man's ways. All right, but America is a word for it is the amalgamation of all of these things, man. So you have people that are of all kinds of different kinds of opinions and whatever else, because there's no real set way to live. Esau has left it very open and confusing. So the people are going to be clashing with one another. All right. 2 Ezra 15 and verse 16, for there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another, they shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their action shall stand in their power. So this has been happening by where the uppers of the people around the world, the protests. but it's going to get much worse, because there's going to be famine, there's going to be true pestilence that is going to be ravaging the world. Time of trouble. All right, people are going to have no home, people are going to have nothing, and they're going to go buck wild out in the streets, man. It's going to be pandemonium. A man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able, so martial law is coming. And over this year, America, Trump has been mobilizing the military to various cities around America. And I haven't seen, read, or heard of any report of any of them leaving. So they're still positioned there. So when it is that martial law is established and they put in the Insurrection Act, which they can do in various different ways, they can declare it, because they're talking about, and they've already put it out there in the air, about the terrorism attack and the whole Islam extremism and all these kinds of things. They can also bring it about by way of a medical martial law, or they can just declare that America is under siege, which, by the way, more information of them putting it into the air, they have put out on their news media that cities around America, that they are canceling New Year's events because of the apparent impending threat of the whole Islam thing. You see what I'm saying? So they're already putting it out there. The spirit is out there. Okay? Because what they're saying is that at any moment they're not sure if some catastrophic event can happen, and they say that usually the places that are targeted are places where the masses are. So they're canceling those events. You see? So something is brewing, man. Something is cooking. Okay? For because of their pride, the city shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation. So people are going to be fighting against one another because of, the time of trouble, Jacob's trouble, and because of the famine and just everything that is happening. All right, in 2 Ezra 16, I read before, there's going to be mass death. People are going to be dying by the thousands. All right, there's not going to be time to be burying people. Okay, so the message is clear, and only the elect of the nation of Israel shall receive it. So, Matthew chapter 24 and verse 3, and as he sat upon the Mount of Olives, the disciples came unto him privately, saying, Tell us, when shall these things be, and what shall be the sign of thy coming and the end of the world? And the word world here is the Greek word aeon, which is talking about a period of time. So the end of the world is talking about the end of an age. Okay, so when I read before in 2 Ezra chapter 2 Ezra chapter 9, and it said the end of the world, it's talking about the end of an age. All right, so the end of the world, the end of the age of the rulership of the so-called white man, because when Yahushua returns, that is the end of Esau's kingdom. Okay, and once it is that the microchip becomes mandatory worldwide, which is the mark of the beast, it's only a matter of time before Yahushua returns. All right, the salvation and the judgment of America to be destroyed by thermonuclear fire will not occur until that prophecy is fulfilled, because there's judgment for our people in America who take the microchip. They're going to be destroyed by thermonuclear fire. All right, so then going to verse 6, it says, And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. So we're in this period of time right now, and many things are happening on that front regarding the world war. All right, you have talks about the UK announced to their citizens rapidly developing plans to prepare for war, right? Where they've declared that the shadow of war is at Europe's door. You have the state of Israel making plans with America to strike Iran. You have China, who has loaded 100 plus ICBM missiles, which those ICBM missiles are going to be used to destroy America. All right, so they're preparing for war. The heathen are preparing for war, man. European NATO nations openly preparing for war, right? So World War III, which is a part of Bible prophecy, is also on the table. So all of these prophecies are coming together all at the same time, building up. So it's going to be boom, 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 boom. Okay? So it's rumors of wars right now, but it is going to turn into full-blown war. And that is soon. Okay? For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. And there shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in diverse places. This is the period of time that we've been in. So the earthquakes been there. The rumors of wars been there. The famines are starting to increase. And the pestilences, if you observe it, they've been around. And also this year, there has been many reports of different kinds of pestilences, which that has laid the groundwork. What is it that has been the narrative for the pestilence? The main one, the bird flu. Right? Recent report came out that the bird flu has transformed from H1N1, I think, to H5N5. All right, Google it. You know what I'm saying? Okay, which means that they're saying that it is now affecting humans. And so what they put out in the world is that they're saying that they're afraid of it because if it, they're afraid and they're cautious because they're saying that once it is, that it mutates from human to human, because right now they're saying it goes from bird to human, but not human to human, then they're saying that that is when the next pandemic is coming, which they've already announced it to come. The World Health Organization already announced that another pandemic is coming, not if it's coming, it is about when it's coming. They said it can be as soon as tomorrow or in a few years, right? But then what else happened this year? They signed the world, the pandemic treaty. The world signed the pandemic treaty for if another pandemic comes, which they stated another one is coming. So many things have been signed into law this year from America, Australia, Europe, Jamaica, the world, and even organizations that are separate from countries like the World Health Organization, right? The time is at hand, it's clear to see. So Yahushua then said, when all of these things are happening, famine, rumors of wars, pestilence, earthquake, all of these are the beginning of sorrows. And this is the time that we're heading into, the beginning of sorrows. But we know that with these sorrows, they must come. As the scriptures say, through great tribulation shall we enter into the kingdom of heaven, right? So prophecy must be fulfilled, and these are the times, man. All right, and the scriptures also say that our salvation is nearer than when we believe. So that is going to come to pass as well. Okay? So with that, all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem HaKadosh, and Shabbat Shalom unto the apostles and elders, the bishops, the 144,000, the Akim that teach this word in truth and sincerity, and the men, women, and children that believe. You know, there are people that believe, man. All right? Out here, you know, I believe through the Spirit some of them show themselves, because like there was somebody not too long ago drove past in the car, you know, they're driving past, and as he drove past me, he honked. All right? And that's how some of them communicate. That's how some of them communicate, man, to show, yeah, man, I know what that is about, and what, you know, and that they're friendly. You see? So there's many of the hopeful elect, man, all around the world. But not everyone is a prophet to teach. All right, of the men. But anyway, once again, shalom unto the hopeful elect of the nation of Israel.